One thing I've always wanted to try is getting a quadraphonic setup, and I've had this stereo for a while. It is a Panasonic, I don't know the model number, but you can see it says 4-channel stereo on there, and over here it has 4 different volume knobs. And around back you can see we have a tape in, right, right, left, left, rear and front. And then the speaker outputs, you can tell it's not a very high quality receiver because it uses RCA out for the speaker. It does have a phono input, but it's only right and left. And I'm not really sure, as far as I can tell, I couldn't figure it out for sure, but this doesn't seem to have any sort of quadraphonic decoding built in. I think it was really meant for, well, like it says, tape. So I think it was really meant for 8-track quadraphonic. And maybe for FM quad, because it does say quadraphonic right above the tuner on the front. There's the model number for you. Made in Japan. Now I do have this Panasonic 8-track player, which does work, and it is 4-channel. You see the 2 and 4 channel on there. Only problem is I don't have any quadraphonic 8 tracks. I've seen a lot of them over the years, but at least in the last year or so I have not come across any to buy, so that's not going to be an option. And besides that, I mean, 8-track really doesn't sound very good at all, so I would really like to get some quadraphonic vinyl going. So in here I have this Toyo QC-002 Q audio decoder, or maybe it's Quadio, I'm not really sure about that. And what this is a quadraphonic decoder. So around back we have phono inputs left and right, auxiliary inputs, there's 4 of them, and then it has the 4 outputs. So I believe, yeah, so it has a ground. So you hook this has a phono preamp built in, and I believe this input here is probably for a tape input. Like if you had that 8-track player, you could run it through this possibly, and it wouldn't really do anything. It would just take these 4 discrete inputs and then convert them to outputs because it's already at line level. But what I'm hoping is it will take the 2 phono inputs, amplify them to line level because that's what the stereo is expecting, and then output them decoded as 4 channels. My only problem with this is that no matter where I looked online, I could not find what system this uses. And if you're familiar with quadraphonic vinyl, there are a million systems. I think the most popular ones are SQ and QS, and those were competing formats. But there's a bunch of different other companies came out with their own in the early 70s. So the plan is basically to hook my turntable up to this, take the 4 outputs of this, input them into the tape inputs on the receiver, and then hook up 4 speakers to the receiver and see if we can get anything working. I haven't really tested this. I tested it so that the power light would come on, but I haven't run any audio through it yet. The other barrier I've had is that I don't own any quadraphonic records, at least until recently. I got these in the past couple of years, I'd say. We have MFSB, Love is the Message, says quadraphonic on there. And this one says it's an SQ disc. SQ was the CBS or Columbia system. And then here we have Peter Nero, Summer of 42, also Columbia, also SQ. See down here. Played through SQ quadraphonic systems. And then over here I have this Magnavox Presents a 4-sound experience. And this is also SQ, and I don't even think I'll use this one because this one's still sealed. And it's not even, I was hoping it would be a test record where it would say, okay, now we're doing left front, right front, and then the rears, so that I could actually tell if I'm getting discrete sounds, but it's not. It's just music. And I'm sure it's recorded well because it's a demonstration record, but so I don't think I'll be trying this. I'll be trying the other two. I wish I had a QS record because I don't know what the odds are of that being SQ or QS. I really don't know which format was the leading one. Yeah, but we're going to find out. I forgot to mention I also have this record which says Phase 4 Stereo, and it shows, like, I don't know if these are supposed to be grooves or like channels, but it's expanding into this, and it has this giant 4 on the front. But despite the name, this is not a 4-channel recording at all. It's just a regular stereo recording. And I have to imagine this was prior to Quadraphonic being a big thing, because otherwise, I mean, why would you call it Phase 4 Stereo? I don't know what they're trying to get at with that. So I will not be using this one. And then finally I have this Technics turntable and 2 sets of speakers. Although I realized recording this, so these are banana plugs or something. And then this other one is, yeah, so that just takes a bare wire. So I don't know if I have any speakers that take an RCA plug. I might need to strip down a couple different RCA cables and make this work. But yeah, we'll see. So to get these hooked up to the RCA jacks, I did find a pair of speakers that use RCA, and they have these nice long cords on them. I don't know what speakers they are. They have absolutely no markings on them. Yeah, just a serial number. But I do know they work. I've used them before, and they sound all right. So that's for one set. For the other set, I think I'm just going to use either these or these, but they're both standard speaker cable connections, and I have these little adapters that go from RCA to speaker cable. I don't know if these were, I think these were manufactured this way. Originally I thought someone just took an RCA cable and hacked off the ends, but I mean that looks like speaker cable to me. So, and then somebody already tinned the wires. So basically I will hook these up here, take an RCA cable to plug it in and get a little bit of extra length, and then I will use these for the back ones, and we'll see if it works. Okay, so this is a real mess, but I had to pull it down so that all the wires would reach. I got one up there, one up there, one around behind me on the right, and on the left. And right now I've just got the radio playing. There's 4 speaker controls, so you can see they all work.
Things that put you in a good mood. 20 on the ground, catching all the town and real music. 7th Island.
So now we just need to figure out how to get the phono working. I tried back here, I tried plugging the turntable into the phono and it wouldn't work for some reason. I don't really know if it's something with my turntable or what, but maybe it just needs a preamp. This might be too old for like magnetic cartridges, possibly. I got the decoder hooked up now, and it's pretty messy back here. I got the 4 decoder outputs going to the 4 tape inputs, and I have the phono going into the phono input on the decoder. I'm playing a 2-channel record right now, and it is working in 2-channel. So, oops. So it's playing through all 4 channels, and I just have it set to surround. If I choose 2-channel, it'll only play from the front. So if I turn the front down, you won't hear it. And then these effects are just different equalizer effects, I guess. I don't really hear much of a difference. Concert sounds all right because it's a little more expanded. And I assume surround is just no effect, and it's just all 4 channels. So now to try it with a quadraphonic record and see if we get any different results. So one thing that this has taught us is that this Toyo QC-002 decoder does have a preamplifier built in. So I might use it even if I don't use it for quadraphonic. So I tried the Peter Nero record and I really couldn't tell any difference. But I'm playing the, what is this? This MFSB record. And I can tell, especially on this saxophone part, the saxophone is only in the front channels. And if I switch it to 2-channel, I hear the saxophone in the rear channels as well. So I think it's working. I mean, I don't know how good the separation is. I can still, if I put my ear to the rear channels, I can hear the saxophone that way. But that might come down to the recording. I don't know. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up this Magnavox Presents a 4-sound experience and listen to a few of those tracks. Because I assume this is like their demo record, that they'll have some pretty good separation in there. Alright, so here's a decent demonstration. Listen to the trumpet, and I'm going to go through each of the channels and we'll see where we can hear the trumpet. This is left rear. You can't really hear it in the left rear except just a faint echo of it. And then this is left front. And you can hear it there. Then we got right front. And it's very clear on the right front. And then right rear. It's pretty clear on the right rear. So I guess the idea is that the trumpet is supposed to be on the right front right now. And that's why it's very clear up there. And it's hardly audible in the left rear. So this is working. I gotta say, when they're all turned up, I don't really notice that much of a difference. I mean, it does sound like a very full sound, but it's not like I'm picking out, oh, the trumpet's to my front right. So, I don't know, it's not super impressive. I found this website that shows the quadraphonic compatibility between systems, and wow, look at all the different quad systems that were released. The 3 records I had were this SQ, and I have to imagine SQ must be the most common decoding type because, well, the 3 records that I had were all SQ, so either that's a coincidence or that must have been the one that kind of caught on the most. I've heard of QS also, but you can see here, if something was recorded in SQ, then compatibility with QS is a 6. And obviously with an SQ playback system, it's a 10. What this is telling me is that the Toyo decoder that I have must be SQ, because it was definitely better than a 6. Like, there was pretty good separation. I could almost not hear certain things at all in certain channels. I did find mention of Toyo's decoder in the 1972 June Billboard magazine, which, by the way, Billboard is great for finding information about products that were released around that time, because they would always go to CES and they would always report on what was coming out of there. But this talks about Toyo releasing an 8-track player and a stereo, which I don't have. But it says the unit has to use Toyo's QC-2 decoder, which sells for $70. And that's what I have, is the QC-2. There's also a QC-1, which is just the same thing except it has different controls on it. I think it has a selector switch instead of buttons. And then they also sell one with a built-in decoder, but it doesn't say what kind of decoding it does. Also, I like how it says Toyo's sales chieftain is Ted Inhara, but down here they call him Inhaha. But anyway, it also talks about other units, like this one also, well, this one's for $80 from another manufacturer, Lafayette Radio. But it says this is SQ decoding for Columbia SQ type discs. So I don't know why. I guess they didn't know what the Toyo one does, but I believe the Toyo one is also SQ.